can sometimes be really difficult for some crews because you've got no benchmark to be working against. You know, in this sort of race, the cocks will be able to use the distances, will be able to use, you know, calls that suggest we're going to move one seat up now. We're going to, you know, they've still got overlap with the Godolphin for who's in first place in lane number 5.
Yeah, it's very early stages still in this race. We've not even hit 750 metres gone. And Godolphin and Latimer in lane number 5, still with about 3/4 of a length lead over Sir William Perkins now, who have started to push out into second and put St Paul's Girls' School back down into third. But over on the far side, Emmanuel School creeping into this pack now, rather unexpectedly. The first time we've really seen this Emmanuel School crew up competing with the likes of Godolphin and Latimer, Sir William Perkins, Stratford-upon-Avon, who are also in the mix there, contending for 4th as it stands, who were in last year's J16 event as well. So a lot of these crews will be used to racing each other, Joe.
Absolutely, and look at the push that Godolphin have just put in. In about the last 15 strokes, they've taken about 3 seats out of the Sir William Perkins School boat. At one point I thought, well, maybe they're coming level, and they have just completely stormed away with it. They've clearly put in a huge push at the 750 metre mark.
Well, it's quite a popular spot. There's 250 metres here between 750 gone and 1,000 metres in is a very popular spot for coaches to put in that little bit of a push to establish their race pace, their cruising speed, and to try and drop the rest of the crews in their field. So we're now starting to get a bit of a spread out for these top 3 spots, but I think if anything, the race is on for that 3rd and final place into the final of this non-championship girls Coxed 4 event.
It's interesting though, because I think the base speed at the moment of St Paul's Girls is probably faster than potentially than Sir William Sir William Perkins, apologies. They are starting to move up on them, but I don't think it's actually going to cause a difference in the result at the moment. 3rd place does look like it's between St Paul's Girls in lane 7 and Sir William Emmanuel School in 3.
So with these beautiful conditions that we've got here, we're rattling towards the finish line and we're approaching the 750 metre to go marker. Godolphin and Latimer still haven't managed to drop the overlap that Sir William Perkins have still got on them. It's about a canvas that Perkins are clinging on to in 2nd position, but this race for 3rd, you were saying St Paul's were up there, but I think actually in fact the kudos has to go to Emmanuel School here, who have now put themselves about a canvas up now on the St Paul's School crew in 4th. It's then Stratford-upon-Avon in 5th, that's just about half a length back on St Paul's, and I think probably will have a lot of work to do if they want to get themselves into the final, because the race, it still lies for the 3rd place position between Emmanuel and St Paul's. But Emmanuel going again now, they've got about half a length up into 3rd position. This has been really strong from the crew from Emmanuel School in lane number 3, Joe.
Absolutely, and now we've got very clearly defined top 3 in this field, haven't we, Camilla? It's lane 5 Godolphin School A, who with almost a length over, they are really fighting to break the water on Sir William Perkins, but they're just not quite able to shake them, are they?
It's a tough position to be in, certainly coming into 500 metres to go, to have not got clear water for the whole race. They'll have been working very, very hard. It's by no means comfortable, the lead that they're in.
Absolutely, but you know, whether it's 1 feet, 5 lengths, 10 lengths, if they're ahead, they're ahead, and they're going to come through this semi-final without barring disaster, which I hope I haven't given the commentator's curse. It's going to be Godolphin in 1st and Sir William Perkins in 2nd, and followed by Emmanuel.
St Paul's Girls now actually have decided that they really do want to be in this final. They've thrown everything at it. I just saw the cocks there look up and across to the left where Emmanuel sits, and we're going to hand you over to the tower now for this really emphatic race for 3rd to see who gets through to the final in this non-championship Girls 4 event.
Thanks, Camilla. It is looking so tight. Can St Paul's put what they need to into this race to try and close in on that 3rd place position, which is tightly being held over on the far side, of course, by Emmanuel? So that's going to be the question with 250 metres to go, but looking so solid out in front, Godolphin and Latimer. Let's have a look at how they're pacing here up at the front of the field. They've got 3/4 of a length, and they're up there at 36 strokes a minute. They're holding a full length up on Sir William Perkins School, so the question is, it's a little bit more than that now, but I wonder whether St Paul's Girls' School and that battle with Emmanuel has surged these 2 boats up past Sir William Perkins. It's just over 150 metres left to go. Godolphin and Latimer are going to be under a lot of pressure as these three boats alongside them really start to wind it out. Godolphin and Latimer have had to go up to 37 strokes a minute now to try and hold the lead. So William Perkins, they're up there at 34, so they're clearly going for more length in this sprint finish of theirs. But as they come into the last 50 or so metres, the dividing line is between St Paul's Girls' School and Emmanuel over on the far side. I think Emmanuel have done just what they need to hold on to third place. They're coming to the last 30 metres. They've actually extended ahead of St Paul's Girls' School, but crossing the line, Godolphin and Latimer and Latimer School Boat Club A take the win, half a length up on Sir William Perkins School Rowing Club A, who have 3/4 of a length over Emmanuel School Boat Club. So that's the 1, 2, 3. They go through to the A final, and we will see St Paul's Girls' School Boat Club, Stratford upon Avon Boat Club, and over on the far side, Sir William Borlase's Grammar School Boat Club contend the B final later on this afternoon. We're going to see that B final at 4:29 and the A final at 4:35. So lots to look forward to. That was the first of two AB semi-finals for the non-championship girls fours. The second AB semi-final is well underway. It looks like it's going through the 1,000 metres already. So we're going to catch up with our commentators following this as quickly as we can. We've got Dan Spring and Robin Lewis. Let's find out what happened through the first 1,000 metres of the course. Dan, how did it go through the first 1,000?
Dig in and work hard to keep your rate up, keep your chins up, keep your strength up, keep your rhythm, keep your rate all together. But it certainly is Kingston leading the field comfortably now, and Walton holding their place. They've got some clear water by the look of it from the third place Durham, but it's still, anything could happen with regard to third place, because Durham haven't got themselves away in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, and as they're approaching the 1,500 metre mark, and these it's quite a strong tailwind these crews have. You can see the flags and all the marquees blowing quite strongly, but Kingston able to watch what's going on behind them. With Walton now have got a clear water lead over the third place, which is now being held by Durham by about 3/4 of a length now over the other three crews. But it's Kingston Rowing Club again, watching what's going on behind them, monitoring the effort they're putting in. They've got to save a little bit for the final. You know, they're not barring some massive accident, they'll be through to the final, so they're just going to do what it takes to get through to that air final, conserve their energy for the medal final later today. But behind them, it's Walton now have a clear water lead, and Durham now are beginning to establish themselves quite clearly in third place. So unless something dramatic happens, that's likely to be the 1, 2, 3. Although Durham, if anything, the ones that will be under most pressure to get that final third place for the A final.
Walton almost look as though they're doing exactly what Kingston are doing, settling back a bit, just maintaining their position, because they know that they can go through quite happily at this point. The final three crews, we've got Pangbourne, George Heriot's and MSG. They're still battling it out for their position and their time, which will give them the glory. They've trained for this. They've had a really wonderful build-up, and this is their opportunity to show what they can do, and they can come back again next year. Looks to me as though that Durham are pulling back just a little bit now on Walton, but as they enter the red zone, Walton have probably got enough to hold the second place all the way into the finish.
Yeah, the last 250 with the red boys. Kingston just maintaining their paddle, keeping a look on what's going behind them. Walton looking a little bit tired, but they're still comfortably in second place, and Durham beginning to just get that overlap on them to secure third place ahead of the other three crews. So that looks as though it's going to be the 1, 2, 3 in the second semi-final of the non-championship girls Cox Fours.
Crossing the line here, leading this race, that looked to be Enniskillen. So the final positions there, crossing the line, Kingston Rowing Club took the win there in 7:23.93 ahead of Walton Rowing Club A in second place, and then Durham School Boat Club A in third place. So those three go through to the A final ahead of George Heriot School Rowing Club in fourth, Monmouth School for Girls Rowing Club A in fifth, and Pangbourne College Boat Club A in sixth. We'll see them again in that B final later on this afternoon. So the next race on the course is the first AB semi-final for the J16 Girls Fours. It's already underway, where we've got Monkton Combe School Boat Club in lane 2, Maidstone Invicta Rowing Club in 3, Lee Rowing Club A in lane 4, St Edward's School Boat Club A in lane 5, Putney High School Boat Club in 6, and Kingston Rowing Club in lane 7. They're already well and truly underway here, going through the 1,000 metre marks shortly. So let's find out how they're progressing here. We've got Camilla and Joe following this race. So let's find out from Camilla how they're progressing. Over to you, Camilla.
Well, it's this Kingston crew in Leicester so slightly, and as the reigning champions in this Junior 16 Coxed 4 event, with a different lineup this year, they're looking to maintain that gold medal, and they're doing a very good job of leading out in this semi-final to put themselves in with a chance of that this afternoon. In second place at the moment, it's the crew from St Edward's School, coached by Tristan McLaughlin. They're about half a length down on Kingston and have been going with them the whole way in second position. And back in third, another contender that we see so often in this Junior 16 girls event, Putney High School, who sit right in the middle of these two crews in third, ahead of Clearwater, back to Lee in fourth. It's then over on the far side, Maidstone Invicta in fifth, ahead of Monkton Combe. But these three crews on the far side of the lake to the tents have been battling out the whole way, Joe.
They have, absolutely. And what I'm surprised, well, not surprised, I'm really pleased to see in this whole field is the maturity of their performance. They are staying nice and long, they're staying nice and long. But we have
that's the St Edward's crew,
Edward's crew coming up on the Kingston crew, and it cannot be more than a canvas in it now. They are really fighting neck and neck, aren't they? Base speed of the St Edward's School crew look like it's actually coming up above Kingston.
And the St Edward's crew will know that Kingston have a pedigree in this Junior 16 girls event, so they'll know exactly the way that they'll go out to race. And I think Tristan McLaughlin, who I mentioned earlier, such an experienced coach, has been coaching junior girls for a very long time now, will know how to pan out this race plan, and it's brought them alongside Kingston now. Their bow balls go through the buoy lines together in first place, but it's the top three crews through to the final, and at the moment Putney High School just clinging on ahead of Lee, who have made a fantastic move in the last 500 metres to try and get themselves up into that final position. But Putney High School, they've got about 2/3 of a length at the moment, which should be reasonably safe. We're through the 500 metres to go marker, and Kingston just with another little move there, Joe.
Really
They've put their bow ball back out in front.
But I think now it's the psychological test as well. It's whether they can maintain the composure that they need. But we've just seen St Edward's Hall just take the lead by a fraction of a bow ball from Kingston Rowing Club down here in lane 7. So that is now St Edward's Hall in lane 5 in first, Kingston Rowing Club in 7 in second, followed by what's looking like another hotly contested contest for third between Putney High School and Lee Rowing Club.
I just heard the coach from Lee shout, who Lee sit in fourth position at the moment, a non-qualifying spot that they needed to go, and I think that was the Cox there just shouting at them to take the rating up, and it's pulling them up the boat length of Putney High School, and I think with a few more strokes to go their boat speed is just that little bit quicker. St Edward's School now in lane number 5 with a fantastic last few hundred metres. They have really been cruising at such a fantastic speed, and they've taken a canvas out of Kingston to push them back in second. But here comes this Lee crew.
Yes,
this is absolutely phenomenal.
Absolutely, for this third position, but I believe Putney has put in a sprint. In the last 10 strokes they must have gone up several pips in the rate, and they are making that count.
And they've got overlap now with the crew from Kingston in second. That is really a turn of speed, and we'll have to see what Lee have got left in the tank. They've got about 20 strokes to go to the line.
And Lee's
Pete,
just
tell us
taking
what's
it off
going
of
on from the tower.
finished. St Edwards have a clear lead as they're coming, but it's really tight for that second and third place. Or a little bit of a shipwreck there from Lee that might have just cost them that impetus, but they should hold on to that third place as they're approaching the line. It is St Edwards that take the win with Kingston Rowing Club in second, and the Lee just hold on to third. Great race there, and yeah, that's the 1, 2, 3. So St Edwards won that in 7 minutes 38.77. In second place was Kingston Rowing Club in 7:41.43, and in third place was Lee in 7:43.79. Fourth place was Putney, fifth Maidstone Invicta, and then coming through in sixth is Moncton Coombe School. So that was the semi-final of the J16 Girls Cox Fours. So that means we'll then head back up to the start for the second semi-final of the Junior 16 Girls Cox Fours. So that will be between Lady Eleanor Hollis in lane 2, NSG in lane 3, Enniskillen Royal Grammar School of Ireland in lane 4, Godolphin School in lane 5, Tideway Sculls School in lane 6, and Molesey Boat Club in lane 7.
Yeah, Cox Fours.
Yeah.
Women's Cox Fours.
I've got MCH. I think we should might as well go pick the next race up.
Not this one.
No, that's I don't have any information on that race in front of me. No. Who do you reckon's winning it? Who we got?
So the race on the course at the moment is the second semi-final of the Junior 16 Girls Cox Fours. So I say Lady Eleanor Hollis in lane 2, Monmouth School for Girls in lane 3, Enniskillen Royal Boat Club of Ireland in lane 4. Lane 5 is Godolphin and Latham School Boat Club. Lane 6, Tideway Sculls School, and in lane 7 it's Molesey Boat Club. Through the 1,000 metre mark it was the Irish of Enniskillen who had the lead. Good couple of seconds lead there over Tideway Sculls School, and that's the way it appears as they're approaching the 1,250 metre mark. Enniskillen looking comfortable, looking strong in that first place, but behind them a good battle emerging now between let's have a look, between Tideway Sculls School and Godolphin and Latimer School. Not a lot to choose between those two through the 1,000 metres, and now through the 1,500 metre mark Enniskillen have a 4 or 5 second lead over Godolphin and Latimer as they're coming through to this final 500 metres. The Irish have made a good trip over. They've got a good comfortable lead, but the battle behind them is looking really strong between Tideway Sculls School and the Godolphin and Latimer. Really almost going bow ball to bow ball. Looks like Tideway Sculls maybe just have a few feet over Godolphin for that second and third place, but also can't be ruled out the crew over in lane number 3. That's Monmouth School for Girls, who look to be pulling the back into contention for the second and third places. So there's a real good battle developing for this final qualifying spot with Tyree Sculls now in second. Looks as though they've just broken clear of Godolphin, but it is Enniskillen who are coming towards the line with about 5 or 6 strokes still to go. They've got Clearwater lead, but the battle behind them for second, third and fourth is really tight, and Tyway Scullers and Godolphin really having a bow ball race as they're approaching the finish. Really not a lot to choose between them. It's almost going to be a photo, but I think Tyway Scullers might just have got it, with Godolphin and Monmouth School just missing out there in fourth place. So great race there. So as I say, that was a win for Enniskillen Royal Boat Club of Ireland in a time of 7 minutes 40.6. Second place was Tyway Scullers School A Crew in 7:44.9, and in third was Godolphin and Latimer School Boat Club in a time of 7 minutes 45.82. Great race there. So next up we move up to the Junior 16-8s. So this will be the first semi-final of the Desmond Hill Cup. That's the Junior 16-8s. So just to give you a roll call there, as the race has just started. In lane 2 we've got Dulwich College. In lane 3 Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association. In lane 4 Abingdon School. Lane 5 Westminster School. Lane 6 Hampton School. And in lane 7 it is St Edward's School A Crew. So really good racing prospect here, and off the start it's pretty much neck and neck. Not a lot to choose between them. The first 5 crews are all within a second of each other, but going through 500 metres is actually the Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association, and who went through in first place, with Abingdon School in second. So Aberdeen went through in 1:30.69. Abingdon were just 0.2 of a second off that in 1:30.89. So these two schools, the Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association and Abingdon School, really neck and neck. Behind them, St Edward's held third place, with Westminster in fourth. So really good race developing here. Again, conditions are looking a little bit calmer than they were maybe half an hour ago. The flags have now dropped, so this quite brisk tailwind that we were seeing earlier on today looks to have just calmed down a bit. So great racing conditions here for these Junior 16-8s, as the race is now really beginning to develop, and it is still the Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association and Abingdon School having a good old battle together. And as we're approaching, they're coming towards the 1,000-metre mark. It looks as though Westminster have now put a big push in and have taken the lead by just under a second from Aberdeen. Abingdon now slipping back a little bit into fourth, with St Edward's making a good push to take up in third, but there really isn't a lot to choose between these two crews.
Westminster School, who have established a half a length lead now over Abingdon School over there in lane 4, but it's
going to be the race for third, isn't it? Very close for third between Teddy's in lane 7 and between Abingdon Schools in lane 2. They obviously know that the first 3 are the only 3 to qualify into the final.
Absolutely, and it's this side Teddy's who are just keeping an eye on what's going on. Cox has encouraged them at the moment. They've got that third place, but only just.
And it's looking incredibly tight between Teddy's and Hampton School over here in lane 7 and 6. We are following on the far side of the bank, and they really are battling it out, bow ball for bow ball, stroke for stroke, but Teddy's just keeping that nudge ahead at the moment.
And Aberdeen Schools on the far side, they're starting to now push through on to Abingdon. So Aberdeen Schools moving up now and consolidated that third place. It's still out in the lead. Westminster School, second place, holding on at the moment. Abingdon School, there's a strong challenge from Aberdeen Schools at the moment, and Teddy's just a quarter of a length behind them.
And it's definitely looking like Westminster aren't putting everything into it. They've got very comfortable and settled in their rhythm, not looking like they're going to put in a massive sprint as we come up to 250 to go.
They're looking very comfortable at 37 strokes per minute, and as they go up, their stroke man's now on the bow of the Abingdon School crew, and Westminster starting to ease away. There was a push there into the 250, so now the battle's on for third place. It's on the far side Aberdeen School, and on the near side here it's St Edward's School, but it's Aberdeen Schools now pushing away into the last 250.
Let's see what we can see from Dan in the tower.
The Red Boys in the final 250. It is Westminster who have a lead of about half a length over Abingdon School, with Aberdeen Schools not too far behind. These three look to be clear. I just don't think there's anything that Hampton or St Edwards can do to get back onto that third spot, but it is going to be Westminster School who take the win by about half a length over Abingdon School, who in turn had just about half a length over Aberdeen Schools, with St Edwards and Hampton 4th and 5th, and then in 6th place it was Dulwich College. Great race there, great race from Westminster, who took their time to get into the rhythm, let Abingdon and Aberdeen make the running, but then pulled through. But a great race between those three crews, and good to see Aberdeen, Abingdon and Westminster going through to the A final. So we're already underway with the second semi-final, so we'll see what the cars can see.
Dan tells us when to go and to start commentating.
Yeah, so he was.
Good luck.
So which car? 2 goes from him.
Yeah.
So we hear nothing, do we?
Shiplake in 3, in 4 we've got Eton College A, St Paul's School A in 5, Radley in 6, and followed up by Bedford in lane 7. And Shiplake and Eton are having a real humdinger at the front here, both rating about 34. Shiplake, we're about half a length down at 500, and just gently, not getting rattled, just gently pushing on with Eton. Now Eton are just putting about half a pip there just to show Shiplake who's in charge, but Shiplake are not having any of it. But Eton now going out to about a canvas, and creeping up next to Eton we've got St Paul's A. Not looking as tidy, but certainly they've got the boat speed. So St Paul's A in third position at the moment, with the other 3 crews just about a length back off the front 3. And remember, it's the first 3 through to the final, Tom.
Yeah, no, Eton look to have established, I think, an element of control on this one. I think we'll see these 3 crews reoccur through the age groups: Eton, Shiplake and St Paul's. Crews that you'll be well accustomed with if you follow the junior rowing community. But Eton, like you said, Charlie, I think they've just eked out a little bit, eaten into sort of Shiplake's momentum, and now have around a third of a length with about 750 metres left to row. And I think you're right there. Eton, Shiplake just a little more cohesive in the slide phase on the recovery compared to St Paul's, who look a little ragged in what is actually remarkably good conditions.
Yeah, St Paul's, they seem to have a better thrust on the boat, but not looking as tidy as you say. So Eton, in fact, Eton just taken it up about half, 3/4 of a pip. We're within the second half now. Eton, a canvas on Shiplake, but St Paul's are gently pushing up to these 2.
Yeah, Eton looking strong. Look, they won this event at the School's Head in March, so you'd expect them to come into this one with some form and certainly looking to establish an element of dominance here. But the thing is, I think from their perspective, there's 500 metres left to row of their semi-final. I think barring any disasters, they're assured of a place in the final. It's now a case of, do they really show Shiplake and Paul's who's boss, or do they just edge off a little bit and decide, look, we're going to reserve some beans for the final later on this evening.
And over on the far side, lane 2, Royal Shrewsbury attacking, because they don't want to be slipped out of the final, and they've come up and they're overlapping with St Paul's now, but they're going to have to do a lot to catch the top 3, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I think Shrewsbury have left this too late. This is all about Eton, Shiplake and Pools at this stage. Pools looking a little, as I said, a little ragged, but I think they've got the third place. Well, I would say it's reasonably sewn up at this stage with just under 250 metres, or just over 250 metres left to row. But Eton and Shiplake, that's the narrative of this one, I think. I think we'll be seeing those two contesting medals later on this afternoon.
Yes, Eton just put in another little push there. It's now moving out a half a length over Shiplake, and Shiplake still maintaining their distance over St Paul's. So as said Tom, I mean, it looks as though these three should qualify. We've only got 15 strokes to go now. Eton just winding up a little bit towards the line.
Shrewsbury really attacking on the far side. A little too late though, I think we'll jump to the tower.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, and with only 5 or 6 strokes left to go, it is quite a tight tussle between Eton and Shiplake, but I think Eton have just been controlling the race, but there's never been more than about half a second between these two crews. So great race there with Eton and Shiplake, but yeah, you're right, Shrewsbury gave it absolutely everything to try and close down for that third qualifying place, but they just missed out. St Paul's held on to that, but there was only about a third of a length in it at the end, so Shrewsbury absolutely exhausted. They threw everything at that to try and get that third qualifying place, but they just missed out. So just to give you the official results there, so that was a win for Eton College in a time of 6:09.24. Second was Shiplake College Boat Club in 6 minutes 10.33, and third was St Paul's School Boat Club in a time of 6:14.14. Just to finalise that, and then Shrewsbury in 4th, Radley in 5th, and Bedford School Boat Club in 6th. So races coming thick and fast. The next race is the Championship Quads the first semi-final. So we'll hand straight back to the car to see what's going on with that race.
Go, car one.
Right, so we are at the 1,000 metre mark with this Champ Quads, and it's already quite a spread field, isn't it, Ken? Leander got a very comfortable lead. They've already broken clear water over Clare's Court School in lane 5, so that's Leander A in the lead in lane 4, followed by Clare's School in lane 5, still with some overlap with Chester Street in lane 6, probably by about half a length.
I think there's still half a length as they go through that timing point, yes. And Leander put in a push, raised up to 37. They broke clear, got clear water over Clare's Court. Clare's Court underrated them at the moment at 34. They look comfortable in second place. Chester Street again made a major push as they went through that 1,000 metre line, and I think they've established themselves into third place. Although Walton Rowing Club now started to come back over in lane 3.
It's definitely looking like they're very comfortable in their stroke at the moment, particularly Clare's Court and Leander, not looking like they're going to move much from that pattern. Again, it's top 3 into the A final and 4th, 5th and 6th into the B final, so it really is that top 3 placing that these crews are looking for in this race. Leander edging out even further, probably half a length of clear water now between them and Clare's Court, but Clare's Court not looking like they're getting very phased. Do you think, Ken, they're looking very comfortable?
Definitely, Joe. I think Clare's Court just got that in hand. They're not raising their rate at all. They're just keeping it long. They're just pushing those legs down in a smooth pattern. The boat speed doesn't change, and they've got a good rhythm going there as well. But the crew I'm watching at the moment is Walton Rowing Club on the far side, nearest the marquees. They made a major push with that last 500, and they're coming up now to challenge for that third place with Chester Street.
It's definitely looking like third place is going to be where the race is going to be seen.
I agree with you, and it looks like Walton's race plan is mapping up really well indeed. They're now level with Chester Street. The bowman in that boat starts to look across again. He's looked across. He needs his crew to push harder now, and Walton have drawn level. So that third place is where this race is, Joe.
And this third 500, the fourth 500s, we are through the 1,500 metre mark, really is where the psychological battle comes in. Walton have just taken over Chester Street by a matter of inches, and it's whether they are going to have the grit, the determination, the brain strength to maintain that lead as they come into the last closing sections of this race.
That Walton crew, they're a top junior crew. They've been performing really well last year, and they're showing that they've kept that standard over this year as well, and they're starting to make inroads now into the lead that that Clare's Court had for second place, but Clare's Court are comfortable. They're watching them. Walton just want that third place. Chester Street don't seem to be able to respond at the moment, Joe.
And we are into the last 250 metres. Let's head up to the tower and see what Dan Spring can see from up there.
Thanks for that. And yeah, they're approaching the red boys. Yeah, and they're really looking superb. It's a great demonstration of junior quad sculling. They've got this race well under control, but it is Clare's Court who have got the second place. Again, looking relatively comfortable. Leander just letting them come back a little bit on them, but got the race well under control. A good paddle there. Great race from Leander. Clare's Court, good second place, and then in third place it's Walton Rowing Club, just ahead of Chester Street Amateur Rowing Club in fourth. So a good win there for Leander, probably a lot of people's favourites for this event. We'll have to see what the other second semi-final will present, and that race I believe is underway. So we will now head back up to see what's going on with that race.
Is it?
Which drives my big four.
Have they thrown it yet or no?
Championship quads on the course. In lane 2, Bedford. In 3, Tideway Scullers. Henley in 4. The Lee in 5. In 6 it's Neptune, and then followed up by Gloucester Hartbury in 7. Well, Henley very smoothly took the lead and had about 3/4 of a length at 500, sculling very well together, very competently. They look as if they've got plenty in the bag, and they've got a length and a half now as we come up to 12.50, sculling at about 34. The Lee have been attacking them a few times, but got an overlap, but it's a length and a half now with Henley leading. And the third boat, which is Gloucester Hartbury in lane 7, just creeping up slowly. Remember, it's the first 3 to the final A, and the remainder will go to final B.
Yeah, Henley's sculling really well, like you said, Charlie. I think this one is pretty much done and dusted from their perspective. They can sort of sit back and watch the race unfold. But I think actually, like you pointed out, the real contest in this second semi-final of the Championship Quads is actually for the third and final qualifying spot into the final later on this evening. But at this stage, Henley looking, well, supreme, sculling really, really well. Lots of dynamism and length around both ends of the stroke. The Lee, as you said, have made no real progress, no real inroads into their lead, and instead Henley have just stretched away inch by inch every stroke. But Gloucester Hartbury here on our near side of the lake, looking like they have got control of the third spot at the moment, but Tideway Scullers still very much in contention, and these crews will pretty much give it their all at this stage, because a spot in the A final means a guaranteed pre-qualification slot for the Fawley Challenge Cup at Henley Raw Regatta, so there is a lot at stake here.
Yes, and as you said, Tom, Gloucester Hartbury attacking, not looking as comfortable as the front runners, Henley, and over on the far side, Tideway Scullers just creeping up a bit. But again, Neptune, not to be forgotten. They're overlapping Gloucester, and again over on the far side, Bedford attacking Scullers. So the third place is where all the battle will shape up.
Yeah, Gloucester and Tideway really going at it. I think Bedford, unfortunately, probably out of this, and Neptune as well, perhaps not with too much left to say in this one. But watching these 3 crews, Henley, Lee and Gloucester, there's a little look over there from the bowman in the Gloucester crew. I think he senses that Tideway Scullers, this is their final chance, they're going to attack, and with 250 metres left to row, I would say there's about half a length in that, which is enough to overhaul in that space, but it depends if Scullers have got enough left in the cupboard, basically.
Scullers' boat speed is quicker than Gloucester's and also Neptune's. It'll be neck and neck.
Henley sculling away though. Henley Leander in the final, that'll be the interesting narrative for this year's Championship Quads. We'll hand you back to the tower.
Thanks, Tom. And there's a few final strokes left. Henley can just watch what's going on behind them. Lee also just watching what's going on behind them, a little bit more urgency, but it is a great battle for third. It's going to be really tight between Gloucester and Tideway Scullers. That's going to be too close to call from the angle that I had in the tower, just a few metres away from the finish. I've got a feeling Gloucester might just have got it, but we'll wait for the official results, and they have, and they're really pleased. They've just found out they've got it. They've got the third qualifying spot. So the result there was a win for Henley Rowing Club, 6 minutes 7.94. In second place, the Lee Rowing Club in 6 minutes 11.47, and Gloucester Hartbury took the third spot, 6 minutes 13.46, with Tideway Scullers in fourth in 6 minutes 13.88. So just 4/10 of a second separated Gloucester Hartbury from Tideway Scullers. So a little bit of heartbreak for the Tideway Scullers as they'll be heading off to the B final. But again, race comes thick and fast, so we will soon be heading back up to pick up the next race, which is the semi-final of the Championship Girls Double Sculls. So we'll just wait to see this race beginning to develop. I know it's started. I'll just give you a roll call on this one. This is Bedford. Let's just get the roll call for this, I should say. So we have Mossbourne Rowing Club in lane 2, Gloucester Hartbury in lane 3, Maidenhead in lane 4, Gloucester Hartbury A Crew in lane 5, Sir William Perkins School in lane 6, Enniskillen Royal Grammar School of Ireland in lane 7, and the Lee Rowing Club in lane number 8.
Now just going through 750 metres gone. It's the Championship Double Sculls race between, in lane 2, Mossbourne and Gloucester Hartbury in lane 3, who have established a really nice lead. Maidenhead and Sir William Perkins, they are also overlapping, and as we go through towards the halfway point, it looks a very close race indeed for the second and third places, Joe.
It does, but it's very interesting to see two doubles here from the same club. So Gloucester Hartbury with their A and their B crew. Their A crew stroked by Charlotte Enright, and their B crew stroked by Carrie Spencer. Their B crew in lane 3, so currently they are sitting in about 5th position, and their A crew in lane 5, miles ahead in lane 5. They really would be sitting very comfortably here, and Charlotte Enright can see the crews in front of her. She knows exactly when she needs to step it up, but it's not looking like she needs to anytime soon. But the fight really is for second and third, isn't it, Ken?
Okay, it is indeed. And Enniskillen just put a push in before the 1,000 metre mark there that brought them up to within a few feet of Sir William Perkins School over there in lane 6. Maidenhead maintain the lead of just about a foot at the moment, Joe, I think, for that second place. But these three doubles now really pushing on into the latter half of this race, and it's going to be a good race for the second and third places.
Absolutely, and as we've said before, this is really about getting positions first, second or third into the A final, and you can see that Enniskillen here in lane 7 know that is the place they've got to go for. Currently they are sitting in 4th. They are missing out by a matter of feet on a place in the A final, and I believe Maidenhead is still holding that lead by a fraction of a length. Potentially, I think Sir William Perkins may have just taken the lead. They are bow ball for bow ball, stroke for stroke, going for it as we come approaching the 1500 metre mark.
Absolutely, and I think Maidenhead actually noticed that and just squeezed on a bit more there, but Maidenhead just holding on from Sir William Perkins. Sir William Perkins at a higher rate than Maidenhead. It looks like Maidenhead are being comfortable there. They're very comfortable, as though they know that if they just stay like that, they will qualify for this A final. Enniskillen now going backwards a little bit as the push from Sir William Perkins and Maidenhead take them into second and third places, Joe.
Maidenhead and Sir William Perkins, as we're looking at them, they're not looking yet like they're racing. We are approaching the 1500 metre mark. They're both looking very flat, very driven, blades going straight in, very clean strokes. It's just to see whether actually we can just put in a little bit of power, and you can see Maidenhead now starting to realise not only have they got to row well, they've really got to try and sprint this last 1500 to guarantee that place in the A final.
And it's Maidenhead at the moment, just putting those legs down a bit harder. They haven't raised the rate at all. They're about 33, just 34. William Perkins definitely 34, 35, and we're just banging those legs down just a little bit harder. Maidenhead are just easing away now from Sir William Perkins. But if you watch Yellow Skilling, they have now pushed again, and as we approach the 250 metres to go mark, Inner Skilling challenging as well for third place, Joe.
The bow girl from the Maidenhead crew looking over and actually realising, no, if we've got to move now. And we can see the coaches of these crews in front of us. They know that this second and third place is going to be tightly contested. They know that their crews need to move now. Maidenhead again looking over, but it's looking like Sir William Perkins has just taken the lead out of Maidenhead's hands. It's looking like Enniskillen is also taking the lead, so it's now Gloucester Hartbury A in lane 5 in the lead by about 2 lengths. We've now got Sir William Perkins in lane 6 in second and Enniskillen in lane 7 in third, but Maidenhead by no means out of the race. Again, look from that bow girl. It's about composure now, isn't it, Ken?
It is as well, and now that they know they're into the last 250, they're starting their sprint for home. It's whether who gets their boat moving faster. Suddenly Maidenhead start to challenge again for second and third. 3 boats bow ball to bow ball, 100 metres to go. Anyone's second and third place to make it into the A final. We hand over to Dan in the tower.
Thanks for that. A little bit of confusion actually over which race this is, because this, I believe, actually is race 2, 3, 4, which is the second semi-final, and it is. No, it's William Perkins. Yeah, sorry, it's confusion. 2, 3, 3. Sorry, yeah. So we'll try and get the official result on there. So yeah, race 2, 3, 3. That was a win for Gloucester Hartbury. Sorry, I'm just not getting the details up in the tower of exactly what that race was, but so apologies for the confusion. But it looked to be a win for Gloucester Hartbury in lane number 5.
Level tolerance.
We're going to get much for a race.
No, yesterday was a bit of a shambles on it.
So for the second semi-final of the Championship Girls Doubles, Bedford Modern, Notts County Rowing Association, St George's, Cheltenham, Hinksey and Wycliffe make up this one, and this is all about Nottingham County's Rowing Association at the moment. Absolutely lengths ahead of the field, sculling exceptionally well in that distinctive green kit, really getting hold of the boat past the rigger, looking really impressive as they make their way down the course. And now they can watch the action unfold behind them, because the real contest is on for that elusive third spot in the final later this afternoon. So the first, second and third crews will make it through to the A final at the moment. That's between St George's College in 4, Cheltenham in 5 and Hinksey Sculling School in 6. St George's have the better of the 3 of them at the moment. They're about half a length up on Cheltenham, who in turn are half a length up on Hinksey. And from your perspective, Charlie, how do you see this one playing out?
Yes, I mean, Nottingham County Rowing Association, really good, efficient, long sculling, getting right behind the rigger and punching hard. 35, 36, but as you say, Tom, the race is just behind them. About 2 lengths behind them, you've got St George's, Cheltenham and Hinksey battling really hard for the 2 places that are up for grabs for the final. Somebody's going to miss out. They're all trying their own little burns and pushes, but getting pulled back by the other boats, and those positions haven't changed in the last 1,000. It's about a third of a length St George's over Cheltenham about a third of a length over Hinksey, and you can just feel it in your waters that they all know that the line is 20 strokes if at most ahead now. They need to wind, whoever's going to get through. Let's get some winding up here. That's better. Cheltenham doing it, St George's doing it, Hinksey doing it. We'll have to see. Over to the tower.
Yeah, great finishing prospect here, but it's Notts County Rowing Association that are going to take the win. Really not a lot to choose between the other 3 crews. Looks like St George's just take second ahead of Cheltenham Ladies College, and then Hinksey just squeezed out of that final qualifying position. A really great race there, and the rest of the crews finishing 5th and 6th, Bedford Modern and Wycliffe College. So great race there again. We're seeing a little bit of a pattern in some of these semi-finals with a top crew getting out in front and having a comfortable lead, and watching the great racing behind them for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So really great race there, and for those of us who are old enough to remember the heydays of Notts County Rowing Association in the 70s, 80s and early 90s, it's great to see the shiny green lycra of Notts County back racing strongly. So we're looking forward to watching those girls race in the final. But more racing carrying on, and this is now the semi-final of the non-championship Coxed Fours. So we'll head straight back to the cars and see what's going on.
We are with the non-champ Coxed Fours for this event, for the Fours Cup. Again, it's 1st, 2nd and 3rd into the A final. So currently we have a pretty tight race for 1st and 2nd. We have St Peter's School in 1st by a matter of inches, bar in lane 6. Reading Bluecoat rather.
So you've got Reading Bluecoat and you've got St Peter's, you're right.
Yeah, Reading Bluecoat, in lane 4 and St Peter's in lane 6. Both of those are within a matter of inches between one another, Ken. It's looking pretty set that we're going to have a bit of a humdinger between the lanes 4, 5 and 6 here, don't you think?
I do indeed, and it's whether they want to push themselves to actually see who gets of that line first. But it's a very good pacing at the moment by St Peter's and Reading Bluecoats. The bow boy in Reading Bluecoats looks across, he's talking to his cox, he's letting him know and his crew know what's going on. They've just pushed out for a few feet in front at the moment, and in between them you've got the Aberdeen Sculls and Rowing Association in the yellow boats. So it looks like these 3 have set for a good race down the lake, but it's whether they want to race it out for first place, Joe.
Absolutely, and it's interesting to see St Peter's School here with a bucket rig. They've got a tandem rig in the middle there. That's where the 2nd and 3rd seat have their blades on the same side, which is an interesting thing to see in a young person's boat. Often it's something we are more familiar with seeing in senior boats in the Olympics.
Yes, and normally that's because of power, that sometimes one of the oarsmen or women has more power and will pull the boat round, so put them in the middle, let the power be central rather than be at one end of the boat or the other. It can also be done in this case for timing purposes, where these 2 boys on the same side will actually stay in time together as well.
Yes, because it is about keeping that rhythm, and you might put someone slightly less experienced behind someone that's more experienced. Certainly in these Cox Falls, we can't underestimate either the importance of the 5th person in this boat. Although we can't see them, they are underneath the bows. You can just about see their heads behind the bowman of these boats. They will be calling tactical calls. They will be making sure the technique is being kept very sharp. And as we've come through the 1500 metre mark, it is looking like Reading Bluecoat School in 1st place by about half a length. The bowman looking over now. We've got 2nd place Abingdon Schools in lane 5 by about a canvas over St Peter's Schools in lane 6. Further back in the field, we've got Henley Rowing Club in lane 3, Emmanuel School in lane 2 and Weybridge here in lane 7. But it really is those middle 3 lanes that are proving to be where the competition's at.
I think so. Aberdeen Sculls, they've just pushed out now nicely. Again, the important person in this boat not only is the cox, but the bow boy as well. He's talking to the cox. He's relaying information that he can see against the other crews as well. The cox will then make the calls that's been set by their coach as well to make sure they're in the right place at the right pace as well. Aberdeen Sculls now just pushing a little bit harder, just closing the gap down now on Reading Bluecoat over in lane 4, and it's St Peters who are just dropping off the pace. They're just going to have to watch Henley as we come into the last 250, but it looks like these 3 crews will go through to the final.
And it's interesting now, it's very tactical. Have St Peter's School come off the gas because actually they know they're through to the A final. They want to conserve something for later. It does become a bit of a tactical game here. What's the point in them pushing for second place? Are they looking for a difference in lanes for the A final? But it's certainly looking like Reading Bluecoat School and Aberdeen Schools are putting in a pretty good fight for first and second place.
I agree. And sometimes you want to be in that first place, just in case sometimes the conditions change and you want to be in a favoured lane as well.
And we'll very soon find out who was in that first and second place. It's looking like Reading Bluecoat School as we approach the last few strokes of this non-Champ 8's Cox 4 final. And Reading Bluecoat School unofficially first place, Abingdon Schools second place, and St Peter's School third place.
Sorry, Tara.
Yeah, and that's how it finished, but it was actually a really close, tight finish there in the end. Aberdeen Schools put a real big burst in to try and catch Reading Bluecoat, but Bluecoat just managed to hold on and take the win by, let's see, so they crossed the line first in 6 minutes 49.88, with Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association second in 6:51.24, and then St Peter's School Boat Club take that third qualifying spot. They crossed the line in 6:55.1, with Henley in fourth, Emmanuel School in fifth, and Weybridge Rowing Club A in sixth. But we head right back up to the start because the second semi-final of the non-championship Cox 4s is already underway. I'll give you the rundown there. So in lane number 2 is Bedford Modern School. In lane number 3 is George Heriot School. Lane number 4 is Hinksey Sculling School. Lane number 5, Westminster School Boat Club. Lane number 6, Dulwich College. And in lane number 7, it is Molesey Boat Club. So going through the first 500 metres, it was Dulwich College who had the narrowest of narrow leads over Molesey Boat Club. So Dulwich went through the 500 metre mark 1 minute 38.38. Molesey Boat Club 1 minute 38.56, so less than 2/10 of a second, or just about 2/10 of a second between them. But then Westminster were not far behind either in 1 minute 38.72 in third, with Hinksey just another 1/10 of a second back in fourth place. So really tight race for the first 500 metres. But as they came through the second 500, approaching the 1,000 metres, Westminster had just put a push in and they had taken the lead, but only by about a second over Molesey, and Dulwich were well in touch as well. So really good race developing here. And as we come through the 1,000 metre mark, and great race here. So it's still Westminster School Boat Club who just have that narrow lead over Molesey Boat Club, and coming through approaching the 1,500 metre mark now. A great race developing between these sort of 3 or 4 crews. Really are in the battle for these 3 qualifying places. It's only really Bedford Modern and George Heriot's that have slipped back a little bit off the pace, but it is Westminster School and Dulwich College actually who are having a really good battle at the front of the race, with Molesey as well very much in touch. Good race developing here, and we're just having a little bit of a problem with our car cameras at the moment, so I'll carry on commentating the best I can. But Westminster School, long relaxed strokes. Despite the relative tightness of the race, they are looking quite relaxed in that first place, and it is battle between Molesey and Dulwich College for that second and third, and also Hinksey Sculling School from Oxford also well in touch. So it's going to be a battle here for the final qualifying places. But it is Westminster School as they have a couple of second lead now over Dulwich College and Molesey, who are pretty much neck and neck, with in fourth place Hinksey Sculling School just beginning to fall back a little bit, but there's still not a lot to choose between those, the second, third and fourth place. They're all within a second of each other, and Hinksey now have pushed through and taken that second spot with Dulwich and Molesey Boat Club. It's a real battle developing here as they're approaching the Red Boys to get this second semi-final, these final three qualifying spots for the final of the non-championship Coxed Fours. And Westminster leading now by probably approaching a length, but I say second, third and fourth is going to be really tight. The sprints are coming on as they're approaching the line, probably about 10 strokes to go as they're in the Red Boys. Westminster watching what's developing behind them, really praying for the line to come, because even though you're leading, it's still really hard work. And Hinksey putting a good burst in. They've secured second spot, and third and fourth is now going to be really tight between Dulwich and Molesey. But Westminster cross the line, Hinksey second, and Dulwich College just hold on for third, and a Molesey Boat Club in fourth. Really good race there. So just give you the times for that race. So that was Westminster School Boat Club in first place in a time of 6 minutes 40.95. So significantly faster than the first semi-final, which was won by Red and Blue Coat in 6:49. Second place in that second semi-final was Hinksey Sculling School in 6:43.8, and then Dulwich College Boat Club in third in 6 minutes 45. So we now go straight back up to the start of the course, and we're now moving on to the eights. This is the Championship Girls Eights, and this is race number 237, and we'll now hand you over to the cars to see what's going on with this race.
Start just gone past the 250 mark with the first of the two semi-finals for the girls. Champ 8s and second 8s. Ken, it's looking pretty tight across the first middle three lanes.
It is indeed. In fact, most of these 8s went off very smoothly indeed. There wasn't a lot between any of them at all, really. Marlow settled in, coming down onto their race pace of 37, and Latimer just a quarter of a length behind them. On the far side, Headington, and also we've got Putney High here. So 4 boats at the moment, and making a very good race of it. And as we go through 500, it's looking like we've got a very good race indeed at this semi-final.
So for those listening, let's just do a bit quick of a roll call. So in lane 1 we've got City of Oxford. They are sliding back into the pack, but are giving lane 2 Emmanuel School a good run for their money with about half a length overlap. In lane 3 we've got Headington School, a girls 8 here that have consistently showed their head to be completely competitive. Lane 4 we've got Latimer Upper School currently sitting in second place, about a third of a length down from lane 5 with Marlow Rowing Club, and lane 6 Putney High School. They are currently sitting in third place, about a foot or two off of Headington School in lane 3, and about half a length off Latimer Upper in lane 4. And finally we've got Headington School A in lane 7.
And that Headington School...
Second 8, sorry, that's the second 8 of Headington School in lane 7.
Absolutely, it's a second 8, and that Headington School second 8 is really rowing well at the moment against these Champ 8s. They're overlapping, in fact I think they've actually got the 5th place at the moment over Emmanuel School on the far side. Marlow just taking it away at the moment with Latimer in the 1st and 2nd places. And dead level between Putney and Headington for 3rd place.
Did I just see someone catch their blade, Ken? I thought I saw someone catch their blade in
I heard the coaches on their bikes make a noise as well. It's
yeah.
like everyone just caught a blade. Was that in the Marlow boat?
Yes, I think it was in the Marlow boat, but it's not looking like they've actually let it destroy their rhythm at all. No. They are now sitting about a canvas down on Latimer Upper School. But when you've got something like that happen in your boat, it really is about keeping your head, Ken, isn't it? And these 4 top girls crews looking like they're within their rhythm, they're staying in their cycle, they're staying in their pattern and not letting themselves be phased.
That's right, and just by clipping a blade like that, it does make you very nervous, but actually they just got back into it straight away, and Latimer Upper were unable to take any advantage over that of Marlow. Marlow didn't stop the boat speed whatsoever. They just sorted it out, got on with it again. And sometimes it makes you more determined as well, making sure you won't do that again and wanting you to want to win even more.
Also showing what competitive racers these girls are. They are very experienced at doing these races. Nothing will faze them at this point.
Definitely, they've been rowing together now probably for quite a few years. 16s and now Champ 8s as well. So they're very experienced, all these crews. And as we watch across the lake, it's Latimer Upper closing Marlow down at the moment. And would you believe then, Putney High School now going along with Marlow and just heading Headington's Champ 8 up at the moment. So a good battle now for second and for first and second, and for third and fourth.
We've definitely got some hunting going on the river today, on the lake today, haven't we?
We definitely have. And I just look back over the Champ 8s, but also to see that the second 8 from Headington is actually still competing very well against the other Champ 8s for that 5th place.
Having 2 8s in this semi-final really is a testament to the depth of the training programme over in Headington girls squad that has been a testament to their coaches for many, many years now. But it's looking like Latimer Upper have just taken the lead above Marlow. They look like they are now sitting approximately 2 seats up. The Cox is sitting on the 7th seat of the Marlow boat. Latimer Upper have gone through them.
Okay, and
It's all over for lane 2.
it looks like Latimer Upper just raised their rate there, Joe, to about 37, and as they push again, but it looks like with that push, Headington have lost contact now. The Headington Champ 8 have lost contact with Latimer Upper and with Marlow, and Putney High School now starting to challenge Marlow for the 2nd place. Is only about 1/3 of a length down. They are 2/3 of a length down on the Marlow boat, but the Putney High School boat is moving quicker. So it's going to be a good battle for that 2nd place as well.
Definitely. We are coming through the 1750 mark, so 250 metres to go, with Latimer Upper having rowed through Marlow, showing an incredibly mature performance, about 3/4 of a length up against Marlow. Marlow sitting about 3/4 of a length up against Putney High School. That is 1, 2 and 3 over in lanes 4, 5 and 6. They are showing an incredibly mature performance, ready to go through to this A final.
Very much so. We watch Putney High, see if they can push back on Marlow, and we hand back to the tower. Over to you, Dan.
Yeah, great race there from Latimer Upper so far. Really mature to row through Marlow, but Marlow aren't letting them get away. Can they respond? Can they raise their rate? Can they sprint to try and get back, or will they be satisfied with that 2nd place and that qualification for the final? But a great race also from Putney High School to qualify, and I suppose it'll be a little bit of a surprise for some people with Headington are going to miss out on the final. They've dominated this Champ Girls event for a number of years, so it's a little bit of a surprise to see them miss out on the final. But a great race from Latimer Upper there. They take the win ahead of Marlow, with Putney High School getting the overlap on Marlow to get that 3rd spot, and Headington just coming up to the finish line now. They're paddling over. Whether there was a problem with their race, because they're paddling quite gently over the line, with their 2nd 8 coming over in 6th, and then City of Oxford in 7th. So great race there, and a great win there for Latimer Upper. So I'll just give you the official results. It was a win for Latimer Upper School Boat Club A Crew in a time of 6 minutes 42.8. Second was Marlow Rowing Club A Crew, 6:45.65, and third was Putney High School Boat Club in 6 minutes 48.35. And with Headington School Boat Club A Crew in 4th, Headington School Boat Club A Crew 2nd 8 in 5th, Manual School in 6th, and City of Oxford School in 7th. But we go straight back up to the start, because the race is coming thick and fast, and we are having the 2nd semi-final of this, the Champ Girls 8. So I'll hand you back to the couple.
Are we on yet?
Go.
Right, this is the 2nd semi-final of Championship Girls 8s, which includes 2nd 8s as well. And over on the far side, Reading Blue Coats in 1, in 2 Latimer, Henley in 3, that's their 2nd 8, and Henley in 4, that's their first championship 8. Tideway Scullers in 5. In 6 we've got St Michael's Rowing Club from Ireland, and Lady Eleanor Hollis in 7. Well, Lady Eleanor Hollis, very smooth executed start, nice decent strokes, getting in well behind the rigger, rowing very well together. 35, 36. Henley over in the middle there, they're in lane 4, their first 8, just gently moving up the field, rating about a pip higher than LEH. LEH looking quite comfortable, and then of course we've got the battle for the 3rd place just behind, 3 boats almost in line, but Scullers have got about a foot over the Henley second 8, and here St Michael's in 6. No. Yes, St Michael's in 6, about half a length back on them. So, all to pay for that second place, I think, Tom.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was quite surprised to see LEH in lane 7, denoting that perhaps they'd had a slightly slower time trial. They were actually in second place in this category. It's the Sculls head of the river, behind Henley, who look like at the 1,000-metre mark they're starting to eat into the lead LEH established in the first half. It was a pretty impressive start, it has to be said, from LEH. Stole a length on the rest of the field and caught them sleeping to an extent, and now I think they're being made to pay for that fast start, because Henley just look the more composed of the two crews, a little bit more professional, a little bit more sort of clinical in their stroke, and they're starting to rein LEH in. But be under no illusion here, this race is pretty much sewn up between these two. They're the leading contenders, but as you say, Charlie, the race is on for the 3rd, 4th and 5th spots between St Michael's, Tideway Scullers and Henley's Bebo, which in itself is a remarkable testament to their programme, that they've got 2 8s competing for honours in the premier category for girls rowing.
Yes, I mean, looking at Henley now, they look stronger, a little bit shorter, but more punchy, and the rate's about half, 3/4 of a pip above LEH. LEH just done a little move there at 12.50, just to keep in contention, but there's very little in it, probably a third of the length between the two now. But the race is all on behind them. Scullers, Henley's second 8, and St Michael's for that all-important 3rd place. But Scullers look to have a bit of an edge, but it's certainly not in the bag yet.
Yeah, I think Henley, their A-boat's going to run LEH down here. I think, from my perspective, LEH went out really well, but I think the case was always going to be that Henley would come through with their sort of just the class that they have. But this has been a good row from LEH, and this will give them some sort of spirit going into the final, assuming that they make that with 500 metres left to row, that they can sort of take the fight to Henley. And I suppose at this stage in a semi-final, when there's 4 places up for grabs and you're in second, you can sort of ease off the gas to an extent and just sort of try and relax and conserve a bit of energy for the final. But despite that, with 500 metres left to row, so 3/4 of the race done, LEH continue to lead Henley, but every inch, I think every stroke, Henley just eat into that margin that LEH had established. But behind them, yeah, absolutely, Tideway Scullers in 3rd place and have just stretched away from the chasing pack, with Henley and St Michael's close on their tail.
What I'm impressed with is that LEH have held their technique. That nice long stroke. Henley, I reckon about 3/4 of a pip ahead, and thundering that stroke. A bit shorter, but the boat speed just looks a little stronger. And as you say, Tom, it looks dangerous. Now, whether they want to go for the line in this semi, I'm not sure.
Well, would you do that? I suppose it gives you a psychological advantage going into the final, doesn't it, if you've beaten your opponents in the semi already? But from my perspective, if I was LEH here, look, I've showed Henley my hand, I've played my card, and they're going to know that LEH have got the speed and have got the actual raw cruising sort of ability in the final. So from my perspective, I'd let Henley have this one. Henley have been taught the lesson that this one isn't going to go all their way, and coming into the final sort of 10 strokes, it's pretty much up to grabs for the final.
Yes, Henley have whipped up another pip and a half maybe. LEH respond just to let them know that they're not sleeping. But Scullers popped into that 3rd place now, over the tower.
Yeah, great finish here with Henley have rowed through LEH, but a great performance from LEH. Henley have dominated this event for a couple of years, so I think they would have given Henley a little bit of a shock as to quite jumping out to that length lead. But so it's Henley in 1st, LEH in 2nd, Tideway Scullers take 3rd, and Henley second 8, have also qualified for the A final. So a great performance from Henley to get 2 crews into this A final. So we'll just wait for the confirmation of that result and the official timings. So see who will be joining Latimer, Marlow, Putney, and Headington in the final. But in the meantime, we'll wait for that. The racing carries on, and we're now up with the Championship Girls Single Sculls semi-final. So we'll hand you back to the cars to see what's going on with this race.
And we are at the 250 metre mark with the first semi-final of the Champ Girls Singles. Ken, a tricky race to race as you by yourself. It's a long course, 2,000 metres by yourself.
It is, and it's one of those things where there's no one there to help you, right? You've got to go through your race plan, but also you're racing someone else beside you who, has got a different race plan, right? They might go out hard and you're going to go out steady. You've got to have that mental toughness to just believe that you can keep your boat speed going and get to the line first.
Right, so let's see who's in this race. We've got lane 1, Emma Colmeyer from Westminster School. Lane 2, Thames Rowing Club, Sasha Helsley. Lane 3, Yarm School, Hazel Wake. Lane 4, Leicester Rowing Club, Lauren Henry. Lane 5, Coleraine Island from Rowing Club from Ireland, Molly Curry. Lane 6, Aberdeen Schools, Megan Hewson. Lane 7, Northwich Rowing Club, Eleanor Cushion. And lane 8, Sir William Perkins School, Ella Aode. And it's looking pretty tight between lane 3, 4, 5 and 6 at the moment. We've got
Molly Cully from Coleraine.
I was going to say, the Irish Scullers looking like she's just pulled ahead.
That's right. So she was lying in 4th place, and everyone else settled into their race pace. And she was just slightly higher rating and just pushed out in front of Megan Hewson from Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association. So Megan went off really hard, but she just ended up being overhauled by 3 scullers as we've gone through the 600 metre mark, approaching 750. So it's Molly Curry from Coleraine who's stamped a little bit of authority on it at the moment.
She almost looked like she kind of went out planning an extended start almost, didn't it? She didn't come down, she didn't settle until way through the 500 metre mark, unlike the other girls who seem to settle slightly sooner. But
absolutely.
I'm very impressed by Lauren Henry in the lane 4 at the moment, rowing for Leicester Rowing Club. She's being incredibly mature and just sitting into that rhythm. A really nice, strong middle third of her stroke. She's doing incredibly well and inching up on Molly Curry.
Absolutely, as you say, very mature, just keeping that pace going. But have a look at Emma Colmeyer as well from Westminster School on her own over there in lane 1. She's got a race pace going, and now she's just gradually creeping through the field. And at the moment she's challenging for 3rd place.
It is, and at the moment we've just changed hands for the first place. It has gone into the hands of Lauren Henry from Leicester Rowing Club. That's Molly Curry from Coleraine into 2nd place now. But I totally agree, we cannot eliminate Emma over in lane 1, who is just creeping back on them. Ken, she's a bit of a dark horse from lane 1, isn't she?
She is indeed, yes. So we mentioned that she's actually challenging Ella Cushion from Northwich Rowing Club over here in lane 7. And Ellen's been up with the leading 3 for a while. But as we're commentating now, it's Emma Coolhuller from Westminster School, Coolmeyer from Westminster School, who's just starting to challenge for that important 3rd place.
And it's looking like the story of the afternoon so far, which is it has been the 3rd place position, been the most tightly fought contest, and it's looking like this race is going to be no other. Lane 1 and lane 7, Northwich and Westminster School, is almost yes. They are almost bow ball for bow ball, but it's top 4 from this race. It's slightly different from the other races we've seen this afternoon. Top 4 into the A final. So currently we are looking as if going through to the A final will be Westminster School, Emma Colmeyer, Coleraine from Molly Curry, Leicester Rowing Club, Lauren Henry, and Eleanor Cushion from Northwich Rowing Club. But that is yet to be decided. We're going up to the 12:50 mark. but it's looking like it's pretty spread out across the field, Ken. And when you're poor Emma over in lane 1, it must feel like you're a fair distance away from any other crew at the moment.
Indeed, and you have a quick look across the lake, but you don't really see many other scullers at all. Right across here in lanes 6, 7 and 8, you won't see any at all. You can see the ones slightly behind you in the lanes, but not the leaders either. So you've got to keep to your race plan and everything else. I'm just watching this lane 7 at the moment, and just wondering if Megan Houston from Aberdeen Sculls can challenge Eleanor Cushion from Northwich. But over in lane 1, it's definitely Emma Kuhlmeier who's starting out the challenge for second place.
I was going to say that the change in pace that she just had in the last 20 strokes is quite incredible. She's now almost taken the lead for second place from Molly Curry from Coleraine Rowing from Ireland.
Indeed, but again, it's a psychological thing as well. Do you want to win the race? You're sitting there now, you know you're going to qualify. Do you want to now just save your legs a little bit, just keep the pace going gently, making no mistakes, but make sure you just qualify now? And but over there in lane 1, there's a good battle going on between Emma Kuhlmeier and it's Molly Curry from Coleraine for that second and third place. And it looks like Eleanor Cushion from Northwich Rowing Club is holding on to that vital 4th place for the final.
It's looking like Emma's over in lane 1 has just settled back into a rhythm now. Almost as if, I mean, I'm speculating here, but it's almost as if through that middle section she just tested her legs. What have I got in them? What sprint have I got? Right, I know I'm in the A final. I can settle back down and be comfortable with it.
Absolutely, indeed. But also, if we start to look suddenly back, right, the peloton opens up, and we noticed though that Eleanor Aodi, right, from Sir William Perkins School, has really picked up her pace. Right, she's now gone through into 5th place, and she started to threaten Eleanor Cushion from Northwich Rowing Club. So Ella Odie from Sir William Perkins now starting to challenge for that fighting 4th place as we get with 250 metres left.
Just looked over her shoulder. Ken, I don't know whether she's going to run out of water. She can feel her. She can probably hear the blades going next to her. Whether she's going to be able to have enough in her to make the ground up in 250 metres is yet to be seen. Yeah. Let's head over to Dan in the tower, and he can tell us as we approach these red buoys in the last closing stages what's about to happen from up there.
Yeah, as they're coming towards the finish, it's a great race here, and it is lane. So I'm just trying to see, it's a good race developing, but certainly the 3 scullers well clear will get through to the A final, but it's the 4th and final qualifying spot that's still maybe a little bit tight, but it is approaching the finishing line now. It is, I'm just trying to see the lane number. Crossing the finishing line now, so the first 3 are quite clear, but it's a push now for the 4th place, and it is in lane number, I'm trying to see the lane numbers. So, sorry about that. So the win there was in lane number 4, that was Leicester Rowing Club with Lauren Henry. In second place was Coleraine Grammar School of Northern Ireland with Molly Curry, and in third place was Westminster School Boat Club Emma Kuhlmeier, and in 4th, getting that all-important 4th qualifying spot, was Northwich Rowing Club, and that was Eleanor Cushion. And in 5th was Sir William Perkins School. In 6th, Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association. 7th was Thames Rowing Club A, and in 8th was Yarm School. So immediately go back to the cars, because the second semi-final is well underway, as in fact has reached the halfway point. So we'll now head back to the cars to pick up this final 1,000 metres.
Jesus.
Which is a shame. There we go, are we? No?
Go.
Right, the second semi-final of Championship Girls Singles. Warrington in 1, 2 is Kingston, 3 is Glasgow, 4 is a Shiplake girl, 5 is Bedford Modern, 6 is Isle of Ely, 7's Wimbledon, and 8 is Sudbury. Well, early on they were all overlapping. The Wimbledon girl Saskia Brewster led out, but the Shiplake girl Olivia Morgan just gently worked her way through to the field. At about 800 she put on a bit of gas, and within 20 strokes had just gone into the lead. Now leads by about nearly 2 lengths of clear water, but the big battle is on for second and third place, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. This was all about Liv Morgan moving through the field, but absolutely Bedford Modern, Isle of Ely and Wimbledon, and perhaps Glasgow out in 3, all still in with the chance here. Jess Reed of Bedford Modern School perhaps looks the most likely to take that second place, but Phoebe Hayden and Saskia Brewster of Isle of Ely and Wimbledon respectively still very much in with a shout here. But it's been really, really impressive from Liv Morgan. She went out in a relatively relaxed fashion and then just cut the field apart in the second quartile, and now can scull away from her opponents with a couple of lengths of clear water, about 200 metres left to row. But here we go, big charge here from Phoebe Hayden from the Isle of Ely. She's got about half a length on the girls from Bedford Modern and Wimbledon, and at the moment it's 1, 2, 3 and 4 who proceed to the A final, so 4 spots up for grabs. I think those are pretty much secured, but it's now a mental battle to see who can go into the final with the momentum.
Yeah, Saskia Brewster, Wimbledon, she just raised that race by half, 3/4 of a pip. She wants to move ahead of the girls to show who's boss here. She's got about a third of a length on Jessica Reed of Bedford Modern, and Saskia Brewster just dropping off the back a bit, but as you say, Tom, it's 4 to the final A, so in theory they are secured, although over in lane 2 Lily Abbott is certainly storming up the field over to the tower.
So just approaching the finishing line, it is Olivia Morgan of Shiplake College who takes the win ahead of Phoebe Hayden of the Isle of Ely, and Jess Reed of Bedford Modern School takes third, with Saskia Brewster of Wimbledon High School taking the all-important 4th qualifying spot. So a great race there. But we need to head straight back up to the start as we're into the semi-finals of the Championship 8. So we will hand you great racing there, and also to Monmouth, a superb race from them to claim the 3rd spot to go through to the A final. So we now head back up to the start, because we have the second semi-final of the Champ 8s is underway, and I'll hand you back to the cars.
So you join us here for the second semi-final and last semi-final of the day. Championship 8, non-Championship 8, second Hampton School in 1, Latimer in 2, Westminster in 3, Radley, Shiplake, St Paul's in 4, 5 and 6, King's College in 7 and Pangbourne in 8. It's a spray of yellow and white out on the water, and at the moment it's Radley with around 500 metres gone, who have probably 6 feet on their opposition from Shiplake. Of course, Shiplake who won the school's head some distance ahead of Radley in March, so impressive to see the boys in red and white come through. St Paul's at the moment in 3rd, of course holders of this event and winners of the Princess Elizabeth at Henley Royal Regatta last year. Latimer out in lane 2, putting in a good performance in 4th. Remember, the progression for this is 1, 2, 3 and 4 will make it through to the A final, but at the moment, Charlie, it looks like Radley have just established a margin of control.
Yes, I mean, off the start there's some pretty high rates from these 3 front runners, and you had to say to yourself, well, the guys who had been dropped a bit, they were maybe 1.5 pips below that. But these guys kept throttling for, good 300-400 metres at that higher rate just to establish their positions. Radley just gently moving up, rating 37, 37.5. Shiplake way underweight compared to the 2 boats around them, because as you say, St Paul's, the most impressive 8 I'd ever seen at Henley for the PE. But I think it's perhaps a different crew now. But Radley just stretching themselves out, still maintaining a relatively high rate, but so are Shiplake and St Paul's, and they're all overlapping.
Yeah, Radley looking really impressive, as you say, Charlie. 7 of that 9 from the St Paul's 8 last year actually have gone away. So only Oliver Parrish and Tom Horncastle remain. And you can just see St Paul's, Bobby Thatcher's boys creeping up in the middle 1,000. They're nearly level with Shiplake now. And every single inch that those two take out of each other is probably music to the ears of Radley, who now, I think it's Shiplake's bound number is level with the stroke man of Radley. So they are really stretching out with about 750 metres left to row. The power and the poise of those boys in red and white. John Gearing, of course, the famous South African coach, heading up that programme for many years. They're always in and around the medals, silver medalists, of course, last year in this event, but to see them leading this semi-final with such a margin of dominance, almost out to a length now, with around 700 metres left.
Yes, I mean, Radley looking good strokes, well together, quite punchy, but again, so is Shiplake, and Shiplake certainly giving away half a stone a man. Shiplake now moving, sensing that they've got to do something just to keep in contention. But 4 boats through.
Yeah, don't discount KCS and Westminster here. They're battling it out for that 4th place. Shiplake and St Paul's in danger of being reined in by the contest that's unfolding behind them. So Westminster and KCS pretty much bow-ball to bow-ball in lanes 7 and 3 respectively. And of course, a place in the A final of the Championship 8 is pedigree in itself and an achievement in and of itself at this event. 500 metres left to row. The standings as it is, Radley out to nearly a length ahead of Shiplake, who have just held off the advances of St Paul's, who are about probably 6 feet back. Westminster and KCS fighting it out for 4th place at the moment. Latimer, Hampton and Pangbourne out in the outer lanes, probably out of contention for a spot in the A final, but this is all about Radley, isn't it, really? Look
yes,
at that.
40 strokes to go. They can all smell the line, just gearing up half a pip, 3/4 of a pip here and there. Just seen Shiplake have another go to keep ahead of St Paul's, and just creeping against Radley, but Radley sense it, and they've just moved out again.
Yeah, really impressive this, and I think Radley now can probably take their foot off the gas. They won't, of course, not in a Championship 8 semi-final, but with probably 25 strokes, 30 strokes left to row, they've got probably a lead that is not going to be overhauled, and this will be a massive psychological advantage coming into the final this evening. Shiplake look like they've held off St Paul's and actually pulled away a little bit, probably 1/3 of a length to them now, and in the fight for the 4th and final spot in the A final later on, it's KCS who probably have a margin over Westminster of around 1/3 of a length, so looks like they might well be heading and joining Paul's, Shiplake and Radley in the A final.
Only a few strokes to go. Westminster look dangerous, but I think they've left it too late.
Yeah, absolutely. Handing over to the tower with Radley in the lead.
So Radley coming up to cross the line in a couple of strokes, followed shortly by Shiplake. St Paul's look comfortable as well. KCS seems to have just nudged ahead by about half a length now over the boys from Westminster, following up with Latimer Upper crossing the line in 7th, Hampton in 7th, and 8th is Pangbourne in that race. But don't forget, all these crews progress through to an A and a B final. Some of them are non-championship 8s, so they will be racing off for some separate medals. But that concludes for this afternoon the semi-final stage of the afternoon, and I think we might have a little bit of a lull in the racing. There's a small gap in the timetable, and we're pretty much on time. We're doing pretty well, which is always good to see, especially with a little bit of a tailwind breezing out there, as you